Thank you. So I have to say, I was going to pick another topic, or I was picked to speak about complex aortic valve disease. But I've been a little bothered lately, and it centers around the fact that, you know, we participate in a lot of trials, a lot of the folks here in the room do, and then when they become commercialized, we don't have access to those valves. Why is that? And so I was racking my brain and spent a little bit of time trying to understand why is it that when we do these trials, we put in Jenna valves, we put in Sapien M3s, yet when they get commercialized, the price is so high, we join the CHI Club. What is the CHI Club? Can't have it. So why can't we have it? So I'm going to dive down and try to explain how $54,000 valves and our Medicare system leaves whole regions of the country without therapy. So, the problem, $54,000 valve and a $44,000 payment system. That's what we have in Houston. The Sapien M3 valve I talked about is about $54,000. The Jenna valve is $60,000. The national DRG payment, DRG is the diagnosis related group for those of you who don't know. That's how Medicare decides the payment. $44,000 is what the national payment is, and then there are modifiers to this code that give you a payment for what you're doing. And I'm going to explain that a little bit to you, because I think it's really important to understand why certain patients can get therapy and others can't. So now $44,000 that Medicare gives on average is supposed to cover the price of a valve, it's supposed to cover the cost of the cath lab, and any other incidentals that the hospital has. There are two DRGs, one for really sick patients who get a transcatheter valve, and this covers all transcatheter valves, aortic, tricuspid, mitral. One for the sicker patients on average is $44,000. For the patients who come in as an outpatient, it's $34,000. Now, the map of who can and cannot get these therapies. This is what I call the therapy desert. You see all those reds, light reds, yellows in the middle? Those are the people who are in CHI, can't have it. The guys who are in the blue, the coast, the northeast, they can have it. Why? Look at the reimbursement in each one of those areas. $65,000 on average for the dark blue, $50,000 to $65,000 for the light blues. The yellows, which we fall in Texas, is $42,000 to $50,000. $35,000 to $42,000 and under $35,000 reimbursement for the same procedure in a country where we all pay the same Medicare tax. So, this is where we are in the Texas Medical Center. The national DRG is $44,000. There is a wage index corrector which accounts for 65% of this code. So in New York, if the healthcare workers get paid more, the number goes up. And that's what determines what New York gets. That's what determines what Houston gets. So this is how we calculate the $42,000 that we get. Now, you get additional add-ons. So if you've got graduate medical education, if you take care more of indigent populations, you get add-ons. The other add-on that people talk about is the new technology add-on program. And it's really, it's a payment. It's a little, you know, the companies will talk about it. It's late, it's too few, and let me explain a little bit. This is for any new technology that comes out. So if the valve costs $54,000, the company tells you, well, we're going to have NTAP for this. Your hospital's going to be able to recoup costs. And the truth is, NTAP takes a year or so to get approved. When you have it, the hospital can apply for more money from Medicare, up to 65% of the DRG, to try to recoup the cost. And in general, they don't get enough money back to pay for the device. They're still in the hole. And so it really does nothing, and the process takes 2, 3, 4 years, and by the time the DRG is supposed to go up, you've got a new device and it costs more. Adding insult to injury, the same valve that costs $50,000 or $55,000 in the United States costs $25,000 to $35,000 in Europe. Let me show you an example. Rural Mississippi. You do a TAVR in rural Mississippi, the reimbursement is $30,000. If you do it in the Texas Medical Center, maybe $45,000 plus, a little bit more. If you're a Manhattan teaching hospital, you get $80,000. So, innovation should not come with a zip code requirement, in my humble opinion. Why do companies do this? Well, they're maximizing their profit where they can get the money. So if you price the valve at $54,000, you're maximizing the price that you get in New York City, most of the East Coast, the West Coast, but you leave the entire rest of the country without a therapy. And that's the reality of how a lot of these new devices that we all spend a lot of time on research, putting through trial, only at the end not to be able to access for our patients. And so really, I'd almost call a call to action for most of the people in this room. We know friends, we have connections, but if you look at this, why is somebody in Houston or in Texas not able to afford this technology? Especially when we're paying the same Medicare tax as everybody else in the country. And yet it's only reserved for a few places. And so I think transparent device pricing is important. The blame doesn't go just on the companies. It goes on how Medicare has been set up. There needs to be real reform. And the government needs to equalize the wage index distortions which occur. So this was my talk. I hope it's enlightened you all a little bit as to why these therapies are available in some places, not in others, and the pricing and why companies keep the prices the way that they do. Thank you.